Tim, how's it going? All good?
Hey Matti, very good, thanks. Just recovering from my running race like yourself.
Yeah.
Try to put the feet up and keep it easy.
Great, man.
How are you?
Yeah, good. Hasn't been quite as smooth sailing this month, but I tackled the challenges and we can go through it a little bit one by one. Had a few small niggles, which is in the end self-induced, I think, in this case. And I had to tackle not getting sick by the wife, but we can go through that one by one. And let's have a look into it.
Cool. Sounds good, Matti. It has been an up and down little period for you, hasn't it? With flu shots and a little bit of sickness and a few little muscle niggles, which is, I guess, part of the parcel of understanding yourself and what you can push. We had a little Q&A that we probably need to go back and reference from last time.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Do you want to chat us through that question?
Yeah, first of all, hi guys, how's it going? I hope all is well, your training is going well and you're going through the winter months, depending where you are on the globe. In Europe it is getting dark and cold, so first question here, we only have one Q&A so far. Eventually I guess we have to cut it down with questions, but I think a maximum of 3, depending how complex the answer is a limit. So let's go into Manuel Silva's question. He asked for you, Tim, and maybe me, but mainly you're the specialist. So he asked about the aerobic threshold intervals. I think we can go to that session quickly. And he asked for aerobic threshold intervals. Do you reference for your athletes the heart rate, the percentage of FTP, or your max heart rate? How do you do it that the athlete is in the right zone and gets the most out of it? There we go.
So really, there is one session that we have. So really, we're looking at a 65 to 75% of FTP. Is the main way I set up an aerobic threshold session. This aerobic threshold session we're looking at here is some aerobic threshold work in zone, which is effectively your zone 2. And then we're pushing into sweet spot, which you can see is a jump of around 50 to 60 watts here. And that's in and around that around 85 to 93% of FTP that we jump into. And we get a little bit of heart rate drift up into that session.
Okay, good. Yep. And why should people use that session if they're training on their own, or do you just have? Is it for any kind of? Is it for sprint and all athletes? Is it helpful for anybody or just long distance?
Oh yeah, it's helpful for anybody to help develop their aerobic capacity, because in the end, from a 1-hour race through to a 8-hour race or 7-hour race as it's now becoming, your aerobic threshold is a key part of your performance, but more so for your Ironman, half Ironman athlete especially. Like it's where you generally perform, is in your aerobic threshold space, high end of zone 2, and it's the main zone that really we're looking to improve efficiencies and powers in relationship to your heart rate.
Cool, thanks. Hey Manuel, I hope that helped. We get into other Q&As next time. You guys can just comment below and we'll get back to it, whatever questions you have. Good. So we finished with October. Now we're in November. Actually, just today, the last day, almost of November, at least from the 4-week block, if you see it in weeks. So just finished the last session just now before. It's 8 p.m. here in Switzerland, so it's your morning in New Zealand. We always have to coordinate the times a little bit. So I had to make myself all pretty for you again. So here the Monday, let's have a look what was going on there. There's all red. Why is it red? I made a note there also for you and for me looking back, if you go through it as well. A rest day planned by me, stacked fatigue. So let's have a quick look back. So I gotta remember when I do that, because it's a fine line. I think what you see with pros, especially when you're full-time, I think it gets even more difficult to get to change, to handle the ego and like, hey, this is your full-time job. You can't like cut it quits now. If I really make it all red and don't go for it at all, something's not right. I mean, really not right. It doesn't mean you're like, I don't know, I don't feel like training, I don't go. It's not that, definitely not, because if I have that, I always start going. You always get into it, 20 minutes in, and if you still feel completely horrific 20 minutes in, change your session to something easier. If it's real bad, I mean, just get off the bike, whatever it is. Maybe it's sickness. In this case, there was something going on, something that didn't feel quite right. So there, actually, I think that's our unofficial deal that I'm the recovery specialist in that sense, because you can't see me. You don't. Many athletes ask their coaches and write them a message like, "Hey coach, I feel horrible. I have a headache, and a headache is a bad example, but I don't know. I'm completely sick. I have limb pain and the flu going around. Should I do the session or not?" Like they know the answer. Like if a friend of yours would ask you for the advice, what would you tell him? If it's a beginner and you're a bit more advanced, you would also not tell him to do the session. So there, of course, my ego is hurt. It doesn't like the red one. Doesn't like it at all. So I found a new trick. Actually, you have to see if you like that or not. I found a new trick how that I keep doing that. So quickly to go to that side here. What I did now is, because when I see this, in my brain sees this, it seems like failure. It's red. Red is like negative. It's like you failed to do the session the next day. If I go through my training peaks, most of us are like perfectionists. It will seem like, oh, I want it to be green. Next time, I'm going to do it next time. Something like it. So what I did actually then later, I think there was once again something where I changed it. So I kept it green, but I went the duration down because something was really, I was so tired or something wrong. Here, for example, flu shot, I think there was one. So let's go into that one real quick, just jumping with the off day topic, calling it quits when it's not good. It's green, as you see, it's green. The session wasn't planned as 45 minutes, it was longer planned. But in the session, I noticed, no, it's not good. It's something is still not right. So I changed it to 45 minutes, made it green now. I know I made it shorter. He knows I made it shorter. I made a comment in there always, so he knows. But in my brain now, it's a little reward system. Like, hey, you did well in calling it at the right moment. Like a change, because the best in the world, they change it more or less all the time, or like a few times a week still, going with the body instead of just pushing through a training plan and eventually having a niggle injury or whatever it is. So yeah, that's my new tactic. What do you think of it?
It's a nice one, Matti. I think you're quite right in the negative connotations that the red can bring. And I think actually you nearly need to be giving you a positive connotation for, hey, I've made some adaptations. I'm looking after myself. I'm looking after the consistency element of it. So I think it's a good little strategy. And I think it helps people park the ego.
Yeah, and the next day was 50 times 100. Felt normal again, low effort, and felt good again. So if I wouldn't have done that, maybe the whole week would have been compromised and would have been a lot of yellow and red and never really whatever it was. Because there was something coming, some sickness here in Zurich going around, some big flu stuff. Everybody was sick. That comes later. Then end of the week. So that week, looking at it, 19 hours planned. 19 hour 30, 16 hours I did. Swimming, finishing off with a running race here, 9.5k. Also in the last video, if you guys want to check it out, was about how to improve your Ironman pace. That one felt good. Yeah, it was a good running race. Through that, actually, we had a big realization with the heart rate, right?
Yeah.
Because something was always off. My perception, for example, with zone 2 running, and the heart rate and the pace were never in line, like the norm. Because what we found out through there now, that my threshold heart rate is actually now significantly higher than we thought. My threshold heart rate, we have to think about it, not many people have that, I think, is 184. That's threshold, that's not max or anything. So that's you even said it like it's unexpected or something, right?
Yeah, very. It would be so close to your max heart rate, but I think it's probably actually helps of where we thought we understood that your range over threshold isn't super great. So as soon as you tip over threshold, you don't have a massive range because your heart, and this shows it, your threshold heart rate is very close to your max heart rate. And it also then reinforced to us that where your zone 2 heart rate was sitting is much higher, and what you felt was really, really comfortable, and that the top end of your zone 2 is now around the mid 165s.
Even that.
And now this can happen as well. As you get fitter and stronger, threshold heart rate can increase too, and people need to realize that it won't just always stay the same.
Yeah, that I noticed for sure. Like, so finally through that, the heart rate is now where my perception is as well. When we have a high zone 2 run, which is great for Ironman, there we had like 40-minute main set, for example, 10-minute warm-up, 40-minute main set, 10-minute cool down. One of my favorite sessions. There I ran it really just by feel, like really by feel, not even looking at the watch or like what I wanted to do. And I ran it like 4.5, 4.6 pace, and my feeling was like in the end actually I got quicker. And I was like, the heart rate is 167, it's way too high. We're looking at 148 heart rate for high zone 2. It's like, oh my god, I'm not fit. I was like, all this stuff. But like I felt subjectively this is right. But now we finally have, because I always want to be on the right side with data, because I do trust in data. If we get it right, of course you need a specialist like you, Tim, to analyze it and have a look at it. But yeah. Anyways, then the next week, second week of November, we have a total duration done of 21 hours. The rest you can see here. That was a quality week. Yeah, it was a quality week.
Yeah, it was a very quality week. Big session there. That was probably one of your bigger CSS sessions. So if people don't know what CSS is, critical swim speed. And you can see there that we threw 2K at you of critical swim speed. Yeah. And that's one of the factors that we're tracking to see how you're performing as we use the critical swim speed test of 400 and 200, use their calculators and then put that into action.
Yeah, so it's basically your threshold pace, right? Your threshold pace, which you can calculate, like you said, 400 and 200 meter intervals. You can Google it, CSS pace. And there I had something extremely good. I think it's a lot of things happening in the swim right now. It's not just like people say, oh, just swim more. It's not that. It's all the small puzzle pieces we're doing, from mobility, gym, the swim quads before, technique. I'm very aware of visualizing. I'm pretty good with that. Also through physio and playing handball, hand-eye coordination. I know with pretty much certainty like where my arm is, what my shoulder blade is doing. And I realized a few things there. And yeah, there I really got my 200 down time threshold, like 240 for 200, so like 120 threshold pace. And then 2 weeks later, something really interesting happened in the swim. That's So it's a good day for swimming, good month for swimming. Demo view 2, the alternating one here, also like the run on the Saturday. Also quality sessions. So the main set is 7K of work. Where does it say? Yeah, 1K threshold and 1K floating. So like a kind of tempo pace, but like you said, the pace finds you, because I didn't know what floating is. And it is true, it does find you. So
yeah, I think that's a lot of people think, oh, float's got to be super slow, you drop it right down, but it wasn't really the aim of the session. It's also a preparatory session for later on, where we want to do greater threshold reps. So we're trying to keep some pace on, but you'll find that pace in those 1K floats that you consistently maintain through each three, or each one of the three. And you did that really, really well.
And finally, it was at Ironman pace, basically. So like,
yeah,
I knew it was at that pace, and of course, he wanted to be at that pace. That I can always drop back on Ironman pace. But I was happy to see that worked out. Sunday, same as always, long ride and run off. A bit more mountain bike now. Climate is changing here, getting colder and colder. So that was one of the last times off. Yep. Then this week we had an off day planned. I swapped the off day to Monday. I felt like it fitted better with life there. This week was a bit of life stress going on, what everybody has. So I changed it there to Monday. And so what do we look at here? So a few good swims. Then I think there was past the flu shot, right? I took the flu shot last Thursday there, because I wanted to be really smart in terms of consistency, right? If you're 2 or 4 weeks influenza, you're back at zero, basically. They say you're not at zero, but I think you're going to be almost at zero. So I tried to avoid that, but that took me like over a week, good 10 days to fully shake out. It wasn't enough to take complete several days off, but that Monday, for example, I felt I needed. It was a bit strange. You always react quite strong with vaccines, so yeah.
Yeah, and I think the other thing here was, you changed your swim as well on the Tuesday, just to modify it up to try keep on top of things early on.
Yeah, also shorter.
Yeah, and I think what people will notice through here as well is we're not doing great volumes in the swimming, but our frequency is quite high. So
and quality.
And quality. And one of the big goals that we've chatted about is trying to, and hence you've changed the swim to be shorter. Try keep the frequency consistent and high, so that we're always engaging with the pool. So, hey, you didn't do an hour and a half, but you got 45 minutes in, so you're in the...
and just changed it to easy. I felt like no way my body can do CSS pace. And it had to do with the flu shot 100%. The rest is all normal, so...
Yeah. And the interesting thing, as people will see, is that it's not like missing or changing those few swims had an impact on your development of your CSS and your performances.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about what can I do on a given day. And I'm someone that if I call it quits, it's definitely needed, because I was in the past someone that always continued blind. And now I find a really healthy, proper balance. And even when I'm mentally tired, I try, and it's all good. Then here, canceled the run. I was still the flu shot, so I changed that, just went for the swim. But then the Monday after, third week there, I felt like I was finally back to normal. So it took a good 10 days for the flu shot, but if I don't get the influenza or anything, I'll be happy with that. Then 24 hours, a big week here. That was actually now the last week. That is today here. It still says 28th. Another big week. Where do you want to start? Which one?
Well, I think the key thing is we look at that swim, because we've been chatting about it a little bit. So everyone will see it's a repeat 5100s. I like to repeat sessions. I like to do them 3-4 times. There's no harm in it. And come back and reference against them again. And I think we saw sort of the pattern with sessions like that is the first one you're actually learning the session. You're learning how to execute the session. Second time you're sort of adapting more to the session. And the third time you normally can do the session, you feel like I've accepted it. Like I'm on top of this. And we've also seen that with your running too, where, the first time it's like, oh God, these 400s hurt heaps. And then you learn it, you adapt to it, you accept it, and then we get some performances as well. So you can chat us through here, Matti, what your performance here in this session compared to what you've done previously.
And that was a big breakthrough, the lifetime best swim. I even wrote it here, lifetime PB, and the comment here. So after 3K, you went into quality. So 3K, 3 times, 10 times 100. And then it was 10 times 100 on a sub 140s planned. It's all a 50 meter pool in meters, and sub 125s planned. And I did it at the effort as before, threshold and whatnot, and just maintainable. And that's important, how important it is to go by effort, right? If I would have said, or even if I didn't have such a big goal, if it would be like, then also I would have maybe just swam slow, I think. Because I just went by effort, and I swam all of them in 118, and it was threshold effort. And the reason I know it's what threshold effort, because it was a short turnover, and I kept going and going. The last one even did 117. There were 2 slippers, 119, but that was just a bit focused. 1 second, it can be the push off the wall or anything. And there I realized that what the hell is going on? 118 threshold, you just went down on threshold by 4 seconds in a few weeks time. So that was massive.
Yeah, and I think it's the consistency, but also it's not just putting into place the swims, it's everything else we're bringing together with the mobility, the range, the strength. And I was even watching a video the other day of Hannah Miley and the amount of balance work she does, finding balance in the water and how she moves and how she feels. And there's lots of little components that come together with swimming that you got to consistently work on. Yeah.
I wrote it here also, the reasons in my mind. I always write that also for myself and for you. What is my subjective feeling why this happened? So if something was great, like I said, very rational, analytical. So aerobically, I felt even in cycling all those 5 hours and consistency are getting a real big engine. So it just felt with all the time in the water as well, I'm not getting so much out of breath and all that. Despite pushing the effort subjectively, I didn't get this out of breath feeling, really, really crazy feeling, great feeling. And then mobility work for shoulders, the extension. I'll make a little mobility video at some point for the sports. But mobility for shoulders, spine, that I always do anyways. And a bit of coordination stuff with the swim. There was something with my left shoulder from the accident as well. And we kind of corrected that with the gym. And the next day, I felt a lot better. So yeah, super happy with that. So we need to get the goal pace. So 52 minute swim, 51, 52. Non-wetsuit is the goal, big goal. But there we need to get the threshold pace down to a 114-ish, 112 better, 114. If as a non-swimmer,
the faster the better, right?
The faster the better. But as a non-swimmer, if I would attach the numbers, I was like, 112, 114, I can't do that. That's like swimmer stuff. I'm not a swimmer. And I had that for a long time, that mindset. But that's now gone. Now it's just a number. Like a rational number, it means nothing. There's no good or bad connected to it. It's just a number and a result of the things I do. And so a little bit more, 4 seconds more. It sounds easy, but it's a lot of work. Yep. But then I would have my zone 2 heart rate, zone 2 pace in at 122. That means I can swim comfortably 122 or 51, 52 for Ironman. So.
Yep.
Yeah, so last one here, I think just the run set on Saturday. What I said about, anyways, this week being a bit strange and not quite smooth sailing. My fiancée, or soon to be wife, she got sick and with this flu, so I slept 2 nights in another room. I had the mask on so I don't get sick, trying to avoid that and ditch that bullet. Then I had a little bit, it was the Monday here, I felt so good. Did a little bit harder at the gym, just a little bit, just like more pull up and like, felt so pumped. I wanted to do it, and that kind of caused my biceps tendon to be a little bit irritated, which of course it doesn't get 36 hours rest. That's like swim. So that one I had to treat a little bit, just small niggle. And then the Saturday here, I had a great run event to Jürgen Foley, shout out to you, a great coach here in the local area for anyone looking. He organized a run event. He always does that with a invitation only, he calls it. It's great, like a cool community. And there was like a 5K TT on the track, followed by 5K tempo. And one of the guys watching here is a local area, Christian. Hi Christian, if you're watching. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. He actually then pointed out, which should have been a sign. He said, "Hey, you said don't wear alpha flies on the track." And I said, and I did think like that. I said, yeah, but for hard intervals, 200, 400s, I wouldn't wear them. This is slower pace with a 5K TT. It's still okay. It wasn't okay. It wasn't okay. Still wobbled in the corner a bit, and my foot got a bit blocked. So that hurt a bit, so I had to fix that. Luckily, my fiancée is a physio. She could treat me at home, and was just a blocked foot, and then it was all fine again. So, yeah.
Yeah. But I think the key point, we were talking about this before we started recording, is how well you've recovered from the session. I mean, probably one of the faster 5Ks you've put down. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then you backed up with a really strong 5K after that, where you're running at Ironman pace really comfortably.
Here. Yeah, first 5K was 17:04. That is not quite right here. I think 3:25 average pace that is. It was a great run, especially because I was a little bit sick with the stomach. I think something I drank before. I have an idea what. But still, felt really great. Good session. Felt like I'm really fit. And then 3:25 average pace, a little turnaround, and then another Ironman pace, so tempo, effort, and they are super important. If you look at the heart rate here on the right, they see 164 heart rate average. Really great, really happy because that's full in zone 2. Pace as well, 4:06 pace. If I have that in Frankfurt, I'll be happy camper. So combined with the other two, of course, which we keep working on and get into the next month video, right?
Yeah, that's right. And again, a reflection of, as we talked about earlier, so we're learning in some sessions with 400s and 200s. Now we repeat them, we get some adaptation, we get some really good acceptance out of them after doing them quite a few times. And now we're in a place where you're executing these type of runs and recovering really well from them, partly because of the build that we've done, and also because of the engine that you're developing and the muscular strength endurance that you're developing too.
Yeah, I could have never done that before like that. I would have been extremely sore, and now I was even talking to him before. I said that I was barely sore. That's why I chose the alpha flies, because carbon, less impact, they say, less soreness, they say, and I can confirm that it's softer on the structures. That's why I chose it in this session. This is a hard session. I wanted to have a little impact as possible, but not again doing alpha fly on the track. Too wobbly, I said. But yeah, barely sore. I was shocked. I was really shocked not to be sore after this. I was really like, what is going on? And I did go hard. I did go hard.
Well, 10K under 406 pace, we would have expected some sort of musculoskeletal fatigue there for sure. But again, I think what we've talked about and what we're trying to achieve is, the aerobic system and the physiological system can adapt a lot quicker than the musculoskeletal system. And we're trying to let that musculoskeletal system catch up and be nearly aligned and not grow one side too fast, and then the musculoskeletal system gets injuries because we're pushing too hard.
Yeah, we are managing it super well. So despite some ups and downs, we did it. Another week of 24 hours. Really happy with that. Even today, 5 hours indoors on the bike, which always was a challenge before, but now somehow I think it's also fitness. You don't get low blood sugar so much. It's easier. 5 hours before would have been a nightmare, but now and then ran after, and no foot issues again, so it was not blocked anymore. So that's it for the November time. Anything you have to finish off, Tim?
No, I think actually one little point to finish was actually this is probably one of your bigger run weeks of this 4-week block too, in terms of volume. So, to feel the way you feel at the end of that as well is another really good sign of how things are tracking.
True, yeah, super happy so far. So, but it's constant focus and dedication. If you let it slip, even just, like I said, let it slip a bit in the gym, pushed a bit, consequences. So, keep it hard, but not like that extra 10% hard, because that has consequences. Anyways, that's it for the November month. If you liked it, leave a like, comment below. Like I said last time as well, the Q&A questions for Tim and me. For the next session, we're always going to be doing this once a month, always looking back at the month before. So next month we're going to be looking at December, around Christmas time and all that. So anyways, Tim, all the best. Chat soon. See you guys, and see you soon.
Thanks, Matti.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. You can really help me out if you like and subscribe, push your notification bell, comment below what you want to see next, and I see you in the next video.